Open up your mind to the way, the conscious way, the way of conscious mindfulness. Podcast with me, Sifu Boggie. Sifu means guide, muse, somebody who points you along the way, who guides you on your path. Boggie means the balancer between the chaos and the calmness. And for the last 39 years, I have been studying the Daoist arts. The Dao means the way, the path, the balance. And I've been studying different arts, different techniques, different skills like Tai Chi, Qigong, Tit Ta, Tui Na, Chinese massage, reflexology, acupressure, 5-element cooking, 5-element healing, Jing and Shen, which is Chinese Reiki, Eastern Reiki, and many, many other techniques. And I use these, my goal to use these is to help you reduce stress and anxiety, to help you reduce chronic pain, and if you're a healer, a coach, or a life worker, to ensure, or anybody, but to ensure that you never burn out by supercharging you. That's what the Daoist skills, these Daoist techniques can do. So that's who I am. That's what I do. What's this show all about? Well, this show is sit down with Sifu on a Saturday. Hello, Saturday. And today's episode is the way, or the Tao, of the Three Ones. Now, within Daoist numerology, which we'll do a podcast on that at some point, there are many different numbers, but within everything within Taoism, everything means something. And so all the numerology, they are all metaphors or philosophies of different stuff. So the Three Ones, now we talked about the 3 M's, which is part of the 3-1 philosophy. So the 3 M's, medical, martial, and meditational. And so within the Daoist philosophy, everything, all techniques have a martial side, which can be fitness. In peacetime, that would be fitness. In wartime, that would be, or if you've been attacked, that would be martial or self-defense. Medical, so self-healing and then healing of others, because it always starts off with you. And then meditational, which is also spirit, connecting with source, the divine, connecting with yourself, which is also the divine. Everything is the divine. So the 3 M's is part of this 3-1 theory. And like I say, there's actually many different variations of this. So we started to talk on this show about General Qaun, the Sacred Child, and then probably next week I will do Kuan Yin, because Kuan Yin is quite well known, so I've sort of saved that one for a little bit later and skipped a little bit. But they are part of the 3 ones. So General Qaun, Kuan Yin, and the Sacred Child is the divine masculine, the divine feminine, and the Sacred Child. They all intermingle and balance together. Now, as I said, because the Tao means the way, the path, the balance, there are many ways. And these many different ways are there to help you balance your path. Whether you need them now or in the future, they're always there. They always exist, like the trees and the wind. You know, they'll always be there in some form. And Qi itself. So within the Daoist philosophies, the numerology sort of shows you different philosophies. So the 0, nothing, is Wu Qi. The 1 is Zen, or Chan in Chinese, and Zen is focus, is pure focus, concentration. And as I said, in Chinese it's Chan. We'll do a podcast on that at some point. Then you have the 2, which is the yin and the yang, which again, we'll do one soon on that one. but I wanted to come to the three, because the three is, for me, is really important. The three ones, the philosophies of the three ones, you will find within, especially the skill set of the DragonDog Shaman. They very much use the three ones. It's the fundamentals of life, especially one of those three ones that I'll talk about in a minute. But you will also find that three ones within different symbols, within different understandings. But that three ones, you'll find not just within Taoism, it's within other cultures as well. The Holy Trinity. In Christianity, it was eventually became the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. It actually is something else, but that's a podcast for another time. So the three ones is a formula. It's probably the best way. Like all these, like the Daoist numerology, are formulas, different formulas to understand the universe and the meaning of the life, or meaning of the Tao. So you have the three ones, which represents different things. So you've got Kuan Yin, General Qaun, and the Sacred Child, and they're like the three deities or the three virtues of sorts. It's the different energies of the divine feminine energy, the divine masculine energy, and the Sacred Child energy. And they're important. They're important, as I always say, whether you're woman, man, banana, or goat. Those energies are really important, because inside you have a masculine side, that assertive side, that to create things, to get things started, is seen, you can agree or disagree, but it's seen as a masculine virtue. To keep things going, to nurture, and that loving aspect is seen as the divine feminine side. So you've got the action, the creating stuff, then you've got the nurturing, so the loving, the feeling, which is seen as divine feminine, but you've also got the play aspect of not taking yourself or anything too seriously, and like seeing the awe and wonder of creativity and everything, so you're not taking things for granted. That comes from the Sacred Child. So these virtues in this aspect is the divine feminine, the divine masculine, and the Sacred Child. And that should be in all of us, is in all of us, whatever sex you are, whatever sex you feel you are, is that you still have a divine feminine side, a divine masculine side, and a Sacred Child side. And when these are not nurtured, there becomes imbalance. And again, there's a very simple in Daoist philosophy. There is no right or wrong. It just is. But the just is balance. When things are out of balance, then things go in a certain way. When they're in balance, they go a certain way. Now, we can call this chaos and calmness, but Daoistically, it's all the same thing. That sometimes here in the UK, it's where I am. I'm on the coast. I'm on the coast of Worthing, which is Sussex, which is the south coast, and it's there's a bit of a storm out there, a little bit windy and rainy, but it's needed. These energies are needed. You need the up, you need the down, you need the rain, you need the sunshine, you need the dry, you need the wet, you need the cold, you need the heat. Everything is needed. So Daoistically, there is no good or bad, just these phases, these things that are needed. So the divine feminine, the divine masculine, the Sacred Child are very much qualities that are needed, that should be represented in all of us, no matter what sex you are. And it was interesting within especially the last 50 years or even more, it was considered a man should be like this and a woman should be like this and a child should be like this, but at some point you're no longer a child, you should become an adult. For me, the divine feminine is a very important energy, divine masculine is a very important energy. But I tend to really, or I want to underline the sacred child. I think for a lot of people, that essence of play, that essence of awe of the universe, like realizing how important things are, I think that's forgotten. I do think in society a lot of our issues is that we take ourselves and everything else too seriously, and we've lost that fun and adventure. And it doesn't necessarily mean, like drugs, or I think, drugs and alcohol and other very complicated ways of fun have become stronger because we've lost that sacred child aspect of playing with a box. Not saying that you have to go and play with a box, but the idea, the concept is that, when we were children, you could have a very simple thing, and that would keep you interested in hours. Those of us who have cats or dogs or pets, and we laugh at the fact that, a simple little thing like a piece of string or a laser light, for cats, drives them freaking crazy. They're really going for it, and we think this is funny, but it's the simple pleasures of life are actually the true treasures. And what happens is that, a lot of people take things out for granted. I've only literally moved here a week ago. Well, I'm not even a week. I moved here Monday, and every single night I'm off. So I'm not doing my day job at the moment. So every single night I'm out until 1-2 o'clock in the morning, just sitting near the sea. It's been dry some nights, it's rained, but just enjoy just being in nature. Now, I'm not telling you to play with a box or sit in the pouring rain, but it's that concept, it's that understanding that the sacred child is, that adventure is very important. Now, this is what's called a boggy tangent. We're supposed to be talking about the free ones, and we've gone into the sacred child. But it's these understanding that these energies all exist. So, like I say, is that you can say, the free deities are, and I tend not like to use that word deity because we think of, it's a god or god or goddess, but the free energies in an energetic form, in a more physical form, is Kuan Yin, General Qaun, and the sacred child. Another the free virtues would be forgiveness, unconditional love, and gratitude. And again, like I say, these free, this set of free, these energies come in different ways. So this whole concept of the free virtues is that if you can adhere to those free virtues every single day, you will find yourself on the Tao. You'll find yourself on a balanced path. What do I mean by that? So unconditional love, forgiveness, and gratitude. Now, they're also they're all interlinked, and is an interesting thing, like how they're interlinked to a degree. But so, we talked about General Qaun, Kuan Yin, and the sacred child. So unconditional love would be a quality or a virtue of the sacred child. That unconditional love, like children have a tendency of, or at least like I know I did as a child. My daughter, when she first, because me and my partner split up many years ago, when my daughter was about 6, 7, I didn't want to, but I gave her a phone so I could contact her easier. And she had a message on her phone, an answer phone, and it said, her name was Ketra. It says, "Hello Ketra, I love you," or "Hello, it's Ketra, I love you." And, you know, you have a lot of children who are just that unconditional love. But not just children, you know, pets and animals are known for that unconditional love, especially dogs a lot of the time, you know, if they're little puppies, "Oh, I love you, you're awesome." And they want to give you lots of love and kisses. So the unconditional love tends to be a virtue of the sacred child. And now these, you know, you can argue, you know, these all. The forgiveness tends to be, when balanced, the virtue of Kuan Yin. So the divine feminine is of forgiveness, and gratitude, when balanced, tends to be the virtue of General Qaun. So the gratitude of, you know, being, you know, like, you know, being grateful for everything you have, being grateful for the fact that you've got drinking water, or that you've got a roof over your head. Might leak, but if you've got a roof over your head, you know, it's something somebody else has not got. I find it interesting, the three virtues, you'll find that when people lose them, then they value them. Meaning, like, for you know, my father passed away not so long ago, and I've noticed this in the past. When he got terminal cancer, when people get a terminal illness, suddenly they want to show their love to everything. They want to show their gratitude to everything. They suddenly realise how important things are, and they start to forgive stuff. You know, they start to, you know, realise, you know, that things don't matter as much as they thought. And it's an interesting thing within our society that we get caught up in this. Oh, you hurt me. You know, you did this. You trod on my toe. You know, you used my fork. And we get caught up in these plays. We get caught up in these routines, and it's when something massive happens. It's, you know, like you know, when you find out, you know, you have a very serious illness, or you lose somebody, or you have some sort of injury or accident. We then get faced with these three virtues, or at least one, you know, one or two of them. And so it's interesting, at least for me, as a child, I grew up, my parents were, my mum was Catholic, and my nan, who was Irish, she was very strong Catholic. And there's a saying that I was taught that, you know, treat every day as if it was your last. You know, if you were dying tomorrow, you know, treat every day. What would you do? And it's a very interesting concept that when you think, you know, if tomorrow was your last day, what would you do today? Or if you had a week, a month, what would you do? What would you do differently to what you're doing right now? How would you treat people differently to how you treat them right now? And then when you think about that, it's like, well, then why aren't you doing that already? You know, that unconditional. Why aren't you telling the people that you love them? Why aren't you? Why, you know? Why? What's the reason? And then when you tell the reason, it's okay, but why? Because that's like the child thing. Remember, like when you ever dealt with children, they say, "Mum, why are forks? Why are they called forks?" "Well, it's this." "But why? What is this? Why? That you know, it annoys people. But that why question, actually, and that's another concept for another time. But this why, this asking, there's in Zen or Chan, there's a thing called the 1,000 cuts. The question of the 1,000 cuts, that you keep asking questions until there's no more answers. You cut away, because the truth is, we make these answers up because it gives us stability, and it makes things in a certain way. But the truth is, things are what they are, and they can be what you want them to be. So the truth of the 1,000 cuts is this cutting away, with questions, cutting away everything until you're left with just what it is, just it is. So this thing on the why, this thing of, gratitude, forgiveness, and unconditional love. Why aren't we being more loving? Why? Why, why is it that, we have to wait until something happens for us to tell people how much we love them? It's one thing ever since a kid, as a kid, in England, and as a child, you get to a certain point and they say, you shouldn't kiss your adults anymore. That may be deemed inappropriate, or and my granddad, and my dad hadn't cuddled or kissed his dad for 20 years, maybe more than that. And as a teenager, as I got into teenage years, I was told, you shouldn't kiss granddad anymore. A man shouldn't do that. Why? Well, because they shouldn't. But why? Because they shouldn't. Why? Because they shouldn't. And it was like, well, I'm going to do it anyway. Me being me. So I continued, 15, 16, 17, 18 years old. I still kissed my granddad and gave him a cuddle. And the interesting thing on that was that it eventually made it changed my dad, and my dad started, giving his father a kiss again and cuddling, because it's like, yeah, but why? Well, why? Why? Just because we say we can't do that, why are we? It's not harming anybody. That's my granddad. So what's the problem? So this thing of, if you would do if something, if you were going to, no longer be here in a day, an hour, a month's time, and you would do things differently, why are you not doing that now? It's a very mind-blowing concept for a lot of people. But it's this whole thing of, why aren't you being unconditional love? The people you love, why aren't you telling them you love them? And even to the fact of telling strangers, like children's, I love you. Because they just want to love the world. They want to love energy. And what, is that as long as you don't encroach in certain ways and don't take advantage in that way. But unconditional love, is what Buddha is all about. Unconditional love. Christ was supposed to all about. Allah is supposed to be all about that unconditional love, about sending the love out to the world, to the universe. So why aren't we doing this? Maybe we'll do a podcast on the why. just stand and go, why? But, so, the unconditional love. Then the forgiveness, is that if you can forgive somebody, why haven't you? Is that, or if you would forgive them on theirs or your deathbed, why haven't you done it already? I tend to, I can explode, I can get angry on some things to wind me up, but I forgive very quickly. I tend, because I've had friends pass away, and I know that if something was to happen and I didn't say what I want, that deep down I didn't tell them I love them, and deep down I didn't tell them that I thought they were awesome, I was grateful for them, but we'll get to that in a second. I didn't say, I'm sorry, please forgive me, and I definitely forgive you. If I hadn't got that opportunity, I would regret it. And I knew that. In a way, I knew that even as a kid, that, gratitude. And I try, I was brought up with please and thank yous. And I try to do that, not so much, you know, as just it's an automatic, but it's, oh, thank you very much. You know, it's, you know, that is you receiving, you know, even like students, you know, I thank the students because they allow me to learn, you know, they give me the opportunity to learn themselves. And that goes into, in a way, goes into the gratitude. Gratitude is you know, is the sacred child, is that to a degree. I know we said unconditional love is the sacred child, but also that gratitude, well, it's that awe and that wonder. You know, all these things that happen, but even the sour things, even what we call the negative things. How many times has a bad thing happened that's led to something good? And I mean, you know, depends if something bad just now happened, the good thing hasn't necessarily happened yet. But for me, I can't think of any bad thing that hasn't led to something else that indirectly or lose a connection that led to something else, which is a very interesting concept. This is why, for me, I've always said there is no good or bad, there just is. Because when you start seeing things in a bigger picture, you see the downs go up. You know, all the atrocities in the world have led to people fighting against them, or people making them more aware, more visual. You know, what's happening in the world right now is that, you know, that we were not seeing the child abuse that was happening. We were not seeing, or we were ignoring the child abuse that was happening. We were ignoring the slavery issue. And these things are becoming apparent because, you know, it popped up and you know, that darkness has revealed itself, but that darkness is revealed into the light. So the whole idea, the whole concept of gratitude is that even negative things give you something to be grateful for. So within the three ones, we've had the three deities or the three beings of Kuan Yin, General Qaun, and the sacred child. We've had the three virtues, which is unconditional love, forgiveness, and gratitude. And there's a pattern. Now, one of the really important ones, especially for the DragonDog Shaman, is Qi, Jing, and Shen. Now, Qi is physical vitality. So it is, in essence, it is also its structure. It's the, you know, the outer, like the jelly mold, the outer shape of the jelly mold, that would be considered the Qi. The physical vitality is your physical health, your physical side, the physical health. So general, the yang side, more yang. We'll do a podcast on yin and yang soon. And yang can be seen as the divine masculine, you know, so that physical structure. So Qi is seen as the physical structure. Now, Qi is physical vitality. And within Daoist concept, there's actually, gets a little bit, there's actually like big Qi and little Qi, and big Qi is all energy. So Qi, all energy, all vitalities. But then you can go to Qi, so the physical energy. So Qi, now there are two different schools of thought within. There's a thing called the Dantians, which we'll do a podcast on at some point. And they're like power cells of the body, energy cells. One in the belly button, one at heart level, and one at the top of the head. And again, the three Dantians, another three from the three ones. And now for some people, they say that the next energy we'll talk about is in the lower Dantian, the belly button one. But for my school of thought, and there's particular reasons why we say this and know this, that the energy stored in the lower Dantian is Qi, physical vitality, the ocean of Qi. So the belly can expand the most. That's why Buddha has a big belly, because he's full of physical vitality. He will live for a long time. Live for a very long time. Physically live for a very long time. you'll get why I'm saying it that way in a second. So physical vitality is qi in the belly. So you can build up qi, and that's your physical vitality. That can also be your strength, but that's your action. That's, the actions behind something. Okay. Then the next energy is Jing. Jing, that also qi can be spelt Qi, or it can also be spelt CHI, because there's two ways of translating. There is the Pinyin translation, which is Chinese into English, and there's the Wade Giles translation, which is the Chinese into English, but Chinese English interpretation. So the Wade Giles way spells Qi, CHI. And then the word Qigong, and there's different words, they'll have a whole different spelling. So even the word Daoist, in Wade Giles, it's spelt with a T, so it's T-A-A-O, so Tao in essence. But so if you see the word T-A-O and D-A-O, or if you hear Taoist and you hear Daoist, it's actually the same word. Now, how the Chinese would actually say it's Dao, but there's almost a slight T in there. So Taoist, Tao. So there's a slight little T in there as well. But so CHI is Qi and QI is Qi. So it's physical vitality. Now, there's a lot more to that. And Qigongs, again, Qigong is more about all the energies, but there are energies that can focus more on the physical side, and there are energies that focus on the other two, which we'll get into shortly. So the next one is Jing. So Jing, so it tends to be spelt J-I-N-G. I'm trying to remember how the Wade Giles way of spelling it. I always forget that. I always use Jing. I use just J-I-N-G. So Jing is emotional vitality. So an emotional vitality comes from the heart. It comes in, or at least in the Dantian, it's stored in the heart. So pure Qi is stored in the belly, in the lower Dantian. So pure, you go from raw Qi into cultivated or pure Qi. So raw Jing into cultivated or pure Jing, and so on and so forth. So like the yin and yang, you have a raw version and a cultivated version. And I will talk more about this in another podcast, because this is more about the 3 ones. So I'm just sort of giving you a little bit of the, just the basics for now. So you've got Qi, and especially the cultivated Qi is stored in the belly. Jing, which is emotion, all emotions, not just happiness, but all emotions, or sadness, but all emotions are Jing. Now, when it's cultivated, you actually go into unconditional love. So remember about the 3 virtues? Well, that virtue of unconditional love would be Jing. It would be Jing orientated. And Jing, overall, remember all of the energies and all of these virtues and all of the deities are contained within each other, but overall, Kuan Yin would be considered the priestess or goddess. In certain cultures they say goddess. In Taoism we would say priestess, because it's omnipresence, everything is one. Jing would be Kuan Yin, would be related to Kuan Yin. Now, Jing is your well-being. So we talked about physical health, so lots of Qi give you your physical health. So that's the structure. The structure is the physical health. Now, the Jing is emotion. So inside that jelly mold could be, the jelly, but it's the texture of the jelly. So you have the structure, and then the Jing would be considered more the texture or feelings, emotions. So we'll get to manifestations in a minute. Just a quick little side note of manifestations. But so Jing, is is your emotional well-being, so your mental health as well. So in the West, we tend to see physical health, and you have a doctor for physical health, you have a doctor for mental health, and you have a psychiatrist or to a degree a priest for intellect to spiritual health. Now, we'll get to that in a second. So the Jing is emotional vitality. Emotional vitality is represented by Jing, and its Qigong equivalent is Neigong, which is also Daoist yoga. That works on the Jing, that works on Jing. And there's even body parts that can be the three ones that are represented by the Qi, the Jing, and the Shen. But that's it. I'm trying not to get too complicated. I think I've already gone past that, but anyway. So we've got the Qi, physical vitality. We've got the Jing, emotional vitality. And we go to Shen, spiritual vitality. So Shen is in the center of the brain, in the pineal gland, is the top dantian. And remember, these dantians are power cells. They're different to chakras. They actually actually reside within the center of the chakras, because chakras have a front version and a back version, but that's for another time. So the whole idea, so these dantians, and again, they're power cells. They're different power cells. So you've got one for physical vitality, one for emotional vitality, and Shen. Now, when I said about raw Shen, and then, raw and cultivated, or pure. So raw Shen is your thoughts. Is those 60 to 90,000 thoughts you have in your head every single day. Also, those thoughts would actually be related to monkey mind. That's another show for another time. So the thoughts would be very much the Shen uncultivated. Now, when you cultivate it, it goes from those thoughts into spirit, so into your connection with yourself, not just whatever you call out there, whether you call it source, whether you call it God, whether you call it banana, doesn't matter. But what's out there is also inside you. So that connection is the Shen, is the spirit. So you've got the Qi, the action. You've got the Jing, which is also the feeling, and then you've got the Shen, which is the inspiration. So I mentioned, about manifestation. So within Daoist culture, you want to manifest something, you have to have a physical action. You actually have to do something to help that manifestation. You have to have a feeling behind it, and you have to have that inspiration. So, like say you want to start up a new business. Well, first you need the idea, then you need the passion behind the idea, and then you need the physical action to make that idea. So you have the idea, the Shen, the passion behind it, the Jing, and the action is the Qi. So within Daoist culture, especially in the DragonDog Shaman, is that you want to be overflowing with Qi, physical vitality, so you can do stuff, overflowing with Jing, emotional vitality, so you can have the passion for it, or whatever you do. And you also want to be overflowing in Shen, which is the inspiration, the thought, but the spiritual side as well. So if Qi was the jelly mold, and the Jing was the texture of the jelly, the Shen would be the jelly itself. That would be, the essence that makes, the actual jelly, and the texture is the emotion, and the mold is the physical structure. So everything contains Qi, Jing, and Shen. Everything. Not just you and me. The plants, the birds, the trees, the rock, your poo, the sky, the sun, the atoms, everything, even ghosts, because the ghost, the structure of the ghost is the Qi. Is that an angry ghost? Is it a happy ghost? Is it a sad ghost? That's its feeling. And the fact it's a ghost, It's like, this slightly elusive energy. That's the Shen. So everything relates to Qi, Jing and Shen. But so the whole thing of the three ones, there's all these different concepts, So, you've got the concepts of, you've got the three virtues: forgiveness, gratitude, and unconditional love. You've got the three deities, or the three energies, or, three qualities of Kuan Yin, General Qaun, and the sacred child, or divine masculine, divine feminine, or divine feminine, divine masculine, and the divine child, that inspiration, that awe, the wonder. You've got the energies, the three energies, which are the Qi, the Jing, and the Shen: the physical vitality, the emotional vitality, and the spiritual vitality. So the three ones is a sign. So the three ones on YouTube, if you're watching this on YouTube, you'll actually see the sign. Now, it has been corrupted. You will find it in certain things now, but everything gets corrupted. Everything gets flips. The swastika is actually an ancient symbol of creativity, but it was the Nazis that used it in a different way. They used it for their purposes, and this happens with a lot of symbols, that they get misused or reused, redirected to be used in a certain way. So the 3-1 symbol. So if you know of the Tai Chi symbol, which is like two little fish and two little dots in those fish, one's black, one's red. The 3 1s, it's 3 of those. So it's a circle with 3 of those. So you get 3 little fish with 3 little dots. Now, sometimes it can just be 2 colours. So it could be like red and white, or black and white, all 3. But you can actually see them in 3 different colours as well. Now, when we talk about the Qi, the Jing, and the Shen, it can, a lot of the time, it can be seen as Qi being red, Jing being green, and Shen being purple. Doesn't it's not set in stone. It doesn't have to be that way, but that is one way. It's one of the ways, like, sort of, so our students sort of know what is what. We use Qi as red, Jing as green, and purple as Shen. And you will actually find that within my symbol. Within the symbol of the Shun Dao is the Qi, the Jing, and the Shen. The 3 1s in Qi, Jing, and Shen. So, this concept of the 3 1s is, again, it's these different, it's almost like programs. It is, the 0 is Wu Qi, the 1 is Chan, the 2 is Yin and Yang, the 3 is the 3 1s, and there's lots of different, versions of the 3 1s. And the 3 1s can also be the Tai Chi symbol. Very quickly. So the Tai Chi, you have that Yin and Yang. Again, we will talk about them in the future in a podcast. But there's a thing in the middle that most people don't realise, that there's actually a thing that binds the two together. Now, within the ancient knowledge, that thing that bound the two together was a silver mist. The little line in between the yin and the yang that connects them, and also the line that connects the white dot in the blackfish. So the blackfish is the yin, the white dot is yang, and the black dot in the whitefish is yin. The whitefish is yang, and the black dot is yin. There's something that actually binds them together, and that's the silver mist. And the silver mist is, in essence, if the yang is the divine masculine and the yin is divine feminine, then that silver mist is the sacred child. This is why, for me, sacred child is important. This is why you'll hear me a lot say, we'll go on to stuff, and then I'll say, but, as any good Daoist should say, hey, what do I know? Or and take the mickey, or just I do something silly, because the sacred child keeps that humour with everything. Never take yourself or anything else too seriously. For a few reasons, because when you get too seriously, the ego comes into play and can run amok. But you lose its you lose its vitality, you lose its magic. You stop being grateful for it if you take it too seriously. So, that's why there is that play. And, one thing, if people are very, very serious with their lives and, coming to the end of their life or something, they suddenly find out that, they're going to, they've got some sort of illness, a lot of people lighten up. Not everybody does, but a lot of people lighten up because they suddenly realise they've been taking things far too seriously. Now, which will be a podcast at some point, or an episode at some point, epigenetics actually shows that when we do take things far too seriously, or we get embroiled in negative emotions, that actually reduces our health. It actually diminishes our health. So this whole idea of fun is not just a good idea, not just a concept or a good idea, but it's actually vital for our own health. Play is far more important than most people realise or are led to believe. And again, like I say, I'm not necessarily, we play in very serious ways now, to hold competitions and so we've taken the fun out of play. And it's the whole idea of sometimes, doing stuff just to have fun. You do it to have, you play to play for playing sake, not play to win, play to play. Which is, for me at least, an important subject. So I rambled on for about 45 minutes now. And so the three virtues, the three deities, the three treasures, the three vitalities, which could also be three treasures, three vitalities, the Qi, the Jing and the Shen. These are concepts, these are ideas to sort of, understand, but they're also giving you their guides, their Sifus to help you on your path. All this information helps me stay balanced. It helps me find my path. So they're not just knowledge. It's not just about, knowing this stuff. It's actually about doing something with it, which is, and that will have to be a podcast very soon. Why I'm a living Daoist is very much about using these, not just knowing the idea, or in the West, we love theory. We love the theory of it, but how do you make it practical? How do you use that information on a day-to-day basis? It's all very well knowing stuff, but if you can't use it, if it's not practical, then what's the point? And so with Qigong is that it's all well doing Qigong, but your actual goal in Qigong and in Tai Chi and in Shun Qi Shen and in Neigong, your actual goal with all of these is to actually use them on a daily basis. Not meaning practicing every day, but actually literally turning your daily practices into a Qigong, a Neigong, a meditation. When you sweep the floor, do it as a meditation. Sweeping away what you no longer need, or you're washing the dishes. When you wash this dish, I'm cleaning up an aspect of my life. Now I'm washing this dish, I'm cleaning up an aspect of my life. Is that actually using daily chores or daily things as metaphors for something bigger? That's why, like people said, don't get bored just sitting there watching the sea. No. There's, I'm being one with the ocean. I'm watching, the clouds, the sky, the thunderstorm. I'm listening to the rain. I'm smelling, being one with the ocean. When the ocean comes in, I'm getting more chi, more energy, more vitality. And when the ocean goes out, it's taking away my my stress, my worry. When I'm walking, every step, I'm letting go of what's behind me. I'm letting go of the past. Everything is a Qigong. Everything is a Daoist yoga, a Neigong. Everything is a Daoist meditation, a Shen Gong. Everything can be a way of enlightening your life, empowering your life, of supercharging your life. Everything you do, that's the point. We're meant to play with stuff. We're not meant just to sit there and zone out. I mean, don't get me wrong, sometimes, that's good as well. That's good to do it. But you're meant to be one with the universe. You're meant to, enwrap yourself, immerse yourself in this reality. But, as any good Daoist should say, hey, what do I know? But anyway, so hope you've enjoyed this episode. Now, if you've got any questions, and I hope you do, why don't you contact me? And I would love to, if people have any questions, is to just message me, and I can add them to the next Sifu on a Saturday, or sit down with Sifu on a Saturday. Forgot my own title then. I would love, or if you'd actually like to come on as a guest and ask me certain questions on certain stuff, again, I would love this. It's awesome is that because that's living Dao, that's interactive, being interactive with this information. It's not just there to be to know as knowledge. It's wisdom, so it needs to be used, it needs to be learnt, it needs to be understood. That's the point. So if you do want to ask me questions, well, you can find me on Instagram, Sifu.Boggie. You'll find me there. You can private message me, DM me on there. You can find me on Facebook. On Facebook, my actual profile is Sifu Boggie, SIFU BOGGIE. But you can also find me on the page The Way of Conscious Mindfulness. I'm also on Discord. That link will be down below. I'm not even on LinkedIn. LinkedIn, I'm under Paul Sifu Boggie Brighton. And on YouTube, don't forget YouTube. YouTube, Sifu Boggie. So and Twitter as well, Sifu Boggie. I'm here then everywhere. Put in Sifu Boggie, you'll probably find me. Now, also, I'm on the wonderful Bring Me to Life on their audios, as well as on Spotify. You will see all the all the different shows, the two versions, the Monday show, which is the interview show, and the Saturday show, which is more of this, the podcast show. Now, if you're interested in learning, well, right now you can find me on Patreon, www.patreon.com/Sifu Boggie, and that has the Shun Dao School. So the Shun Dao School, we teach Qigong, we teach Jing and Shen, which is Chinese Reiki, and we also teach Eastern Reiki, which is slightly different to the Reiki known in the West. There's the actual traditional version in the East actually contains Qigong, or Hatsui Ho as it's called in Japanese, and it's more of a regular thing rather than a one-off or set workshops. It was meant to be an ongoing journey, so you actually had classes rather than you did a course. So if you're interested in either of those two, you can find me on, again, www.patreon.com/Sifu Boggie, and the Shun Dao School is there. And also, like I say, down below, if you're listening to this or watching this on YouTube, all the links are down below, and I'll see you soon. So that's it really for now. Until next week on Sit Down with Sifu on a Saturday. Hello, Saturday. Until next week, it's love, chi, and shen from me, Sifu Boggie. But remember, open up your mind to the way. The conscious way. The way of conscious mindfulness.